Welcome to Beyond Borders. I'm your host, Tony McCord, and today I'll be sitting down with Cara Celeste West, the Digital Nomad Mom, as she shares insights on how she manages to balance family and full-time travel. Join us as we discuss her 2024 plans and the program for digital nomad parents that empowers families to live, work, and connect with each other while exploring the world. Let's get into it. Good morning, Cara. How are you today?
I am doing so good. We are in Isla Mujeres today, so it's been just beautiful weather and the water is so crystal clear and blue, so no complaints.
Awesome. So we're going to just talk to you a little bit about your journey as a digital nomad mom and what inspired you to pursue full-time travel with your family.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have always wanted to travel, like ever since I was a little girl. I used to watch Samantha Brown on the Travel Channel. I was like obsessed, and I thought this is so cool that someone actually has their job as just traveling to these incredible places, hotels and food. And so I always knew I wanted to do that. But of course, I got older and the bills started coming and they didn't stop. So
Mm-hmm.
I decided I'll put travel on the back burner. I'll build up my career, but I always still felt like I was just not fulfilled in life. And I was always just dreaming of travel, pinning multiple different destinations to my Pinterest boards. And then after I became a mom, I just really felt so inspired by other Black women, including yourself, that I saw living abroad and traveling abroad. Especially being a mom in the US, I just felt like it was so overwhelming. I didn't have a lot of support as far as like my family was around, but my mom still lived about 2 hours away. So I just didn't have as much support as I wanted around me during that time, those first few months of postpartum. And I just thought it has to be easier than this. There's got to be a better way to live and to be a mother. That's when I saw so many Black women living abroad and just existing in peace and having a soft life. And I thought, that's what I want for myself. How do I get that? So I quit my job and I found a remote job. And now I'm a digital nomad. And my goal now with my content is helping other women, especially women of color, be able to have access to this lifestyle because we've been able to do so much in such a short amount of time as a family. And it's honestly the best experience and also just one of the best decisions that we've ever made.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. That's one thing that I realized after I began my journey as a solo traveler, that there were so few Black Americans traveling. When I first began, there wasn't really much interest. It was always such a abstract, out of reach concept that nobody could really wrap their minds around.
Yeah. I think the reason for that is I would say like post 2016, because we all know what happened in the election of 2016. And I feel like just even not even just women of color, but just women in general, I think that the political landscape of the US has changed immensely in just that
Mhm.
short amount of time. And I really see a lot of women at the forefront of this movement of either becoming digital nomads or wanting to move abroad with their families. And I think overall, the goal for them is being able to spend more time with their family. So I think that's why the interest is there. And just speaking to, clients that I help with moving abroad or becoming digital nomads, finding remote work, that's their main concern every single time I talk with them is really affordability, and also safety is like a huge issue for women.
Yeah, I know that's right. So, what did you do before you were a content creator, before you were traveling? Like, how did you transition?
That's such a great question. I actually, before becoming more in the travel space, I always wanted to be a travel blogger, but I was so broke. I didn't have any money. So I thought, okay, what else do I have interest in? For me, that was food. And so I was actually a food blogger for, I would say, 3 years, really. And it's so interesting because now that I do this full time in the travel space, I realized that the wait was really just preparation for this because I learned so much in my journey as a food blogger, working with brands, creating content, learning videography, photography. And now all of that has translated into my content as a travel content creator. So I did that, as well as I've been in the travel and hospitality industry for the past 10 years, working
Okay.
in the vacation rental industry, in sales and operations. So I've been in the industry for a very long time. So it's nice that I not only have a passion for travel, but I also know a lot of the back information of the industry in the travel space.
I didn't realize we have a very similar trajectory. because that's another
Seriously.
thing that I have a background in the hospitality, travel, and tourism industry. When I first began, I didn't really think that I was going to be bringing my hospitality expertise or my travel and tourism expertise into the space that I'm in right now. And it just so happens that it all unfolded and it worked out really well. And I'm happy to hear that it worked out well for you. How old is your daughter again?
She just turned 2.
Oh my God. I remember when my kids were young, I just could never imagine being able to pick them up and travel the world. I wanted to, even back then. And a lot of people had fear around me and they talked me out of it. And I still have regrets about that to this day. So, how did you find it was for you just having a toddler in this environment?
Yeah. So we actually, my husband and I got married in 2020, and originally our plan was to get married in Hawaii. So we actually eloped in 2020 because of the pandemic, and then we held off our wedding in Hawaii for almost 2 years. And our daughter was born in between that time. And I remember us thinking, okay, if we can do this, if we can travel with her to Hawaii, 'cause she was only 3 months at the time. So we're like, we could travel with her to Hawaii. This is like the test run. So we did, and it was an amazing experience. And it was helpful because we had all of our family there with us. So that really gave us a lot of confidence because she was so small and it was almost an 8-hour flight from
Mhm.
Houston to Honolulu. So we were like, okay, like we did that 8 hours with 3 month old. So like we can start exploring more places. And then shortly after that, I found the company Boundless Life, who we've done 2 cohorts with now. And Boundless Life has been incredible for us in just gaining the confidence of being able to travel abroad with her because it's such a turnkey program of having furnished housing, the co working space for the parents who are working remotely, and also the schooling for the kids, as well as just a local team on the ground. That anything that we needed while we were there, the local team was there for us, and having support with the rest of the families that we were traveling with as well. Had other kids at the similar age range. So we just felt like we weren't doing it on our own. So we
Yeah.
felt so supported in that. And I honestly recommend it to any family who's looking to do this, do something similar to this, whether it be part time or full time, and you're just not really sure how to do it, because that really gave us so much confidence in being able to do this ourselves. And we're hopefully going with them again this summer to Montenegro, which I'm so excited for.
Oh, wow, that sounds amazing. So have you found that with Boundless Life that you meet up with the same groups of parents?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have really been able to create a really amazing community from Boundless. And I think that's one of the best parts about doing this program because it's really slow travel. So you're traveling anywhere between 4 weeks to 3 months with the same families in your cohort. So you have a lot of time to get to know each other and go on little coffee dates or lunch dates and things like that. And it's also an amazing networking opportunity as well because everybody there is doing something working remotely, or whether they have their own business or they're working for a company who is remote first. Yeah. So it's been an incredible community to be in touch with. And we're actually in Playa del Carmen, and we are also with another family who we met in Portugal. So it's also nice to know that
Right.
we can find spaces around the world. If we're not just doing Boundless, we can connect with another family who we know from Boundless.
That is so cool. So tell me how it works with your husband. I know that dynamic has probably shifted around a little bit. So how did that all come about?
I love this question so much. And honestly, I have the best partner in the world because I always come up with crazy ideas and he's just, okay, yeah, let's do it.
That is so amazing.
But he has really been so supportive. And honestly, I think for him, and I get this question a lot too with women who want to move abroad, a lot of times their husbands are in location dependent jobs. So they cannot move abroad right
Mhm.
away. And it's a transition for them. And I also think too, because men are not as being affected in the political landscape, that they don't really feel the need to leave because most of the system benefits them. So they don't
Yeah.
really see this need to leave the US or to see other cultures and things like that. And my husband he really enjoyed travel just domestically from what we had done in the past. And when I had this idea of us doing Boundless Life and going to Portugal, he was a little nervous to go that long because that also meant he had to step away from his job for 3 months. And
Yeah.
I think that allowed him to have this test period of what this would look like if our life was set up this way, where we were on one income. I was making the income as head of household, and he was being more of the support role. And also, he's really been wanting to get into personal training, and he just got certified. So he also now has the grace and space to step away from his really demanding job that he had as a restaurant manager, where he just never got a chance to focus on the things that he really wanted to do either. So it's been really lovely because now it's not only am I being supported in my career, but he also now has the space to not only spend time with our daughter and be just such a big support system for her, but also being able to achieve a lot of his goals as well. So it's been a really good symbiotic relationship for us.
Does he have any aspirations of getting in front of the camera, maybe doing social media like you do?
He does, yes, but he's so shy. He's not as going as I am. I keep telling him, like, he'll be fine, he'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
It's hard putting yourself out there to the online world.
It really is. And it takes a while. It does. It takes a while to start feeling comfortable with it. He's definitely got the time and the space to play around with it if that's what's something that he chooses to do. So I think that it's empowering for both of you to be able to do something like this, especially with having a daughter that is so young. I know that I was a stay-at-home mother for 15 years. And it was very hard. It was probably one of the hardest things that I had ever done. I just remember back then not really feeling like there were very many options. And now that things are changing and the landscape of our world is changing, the political landscape is changing, everything is changing since the pandemic, I believe, honestly. I think that people are feeling more of their freedom and their options, and there are options out there. To hear about boundless life is just, if there had been something like that when my children were little, I would have, without a doubt, I would have taken it and I would have run with it. Absolutely.
I always joke with my mom that I was like, if this had been around with my mom, I would have been a boundless child. For sure. She would have done that.
So I just know from being a content creator myself, I know how hard it is to get the content done and just paying attention to all of that. How do you find the balance doing all of that work and then at the same time also being a mom, being a partner?
I am just a very efficient person, but I also am like, I really enjoy what I do. And I do work a lot, probably more than I should. But one of the ways that I actually get this done is I actually like to theme my days of the week. So there's some days that I have just dedicated to writing blog posts. There's some days that I have that are dedicated just to editing videos. And some days that I have just to just batch out and create my content for the week. And then now I also just been really working on being more sustainable in my business as a content creator. So I've also been able to outsource. So now I have a virtual assistant that's been helping me do a lot of admin stuff on the back end that just takes a lot of time. And she's been absolutely amazing. So definitely I'm at this point now where I'm like, okay, I can't do it all by myself. Like I absolutely need the assistant. So that has been a really big game changer for me in my business and just being able to have time back.
Yes, I know. I think it's something that we all kind of struggle with because you do get to a certain point where you realize that, no, I cannot continue to do all of this by myself. So being able to outsource that kind of thing and get the admin side of it taken care of is a huge help. So what would you say some of the rewards to this life are, besides the obvious, seeing beautiful places all around the world? But have you found any other kind of rewarding benefits to living this way?
I think for me, one of the things that I was so worried about when I became pregnant, I was so excited to become a mom, but I remember having this moment of just fear and terror, thinking that I was going to be giving up my dream of seeing the world. And now that I get to do it with my daughter and with my family, like it's such a different experience because now I get to see the world through her eyes. It's just the most incredible experience because like kids just find the beauty in like the small things. It's like, it doesn't matter if it's raining. We're at the beach and it's raining and like she's having the time of her life. Or I'll never forget, I'm here at Buckingham Palace and I'm so excited to be here. And my daughter's just like chasing a pigeon right up Buckingham Palace. Like it's totally oblivious to her, like where we are, but she's having such an amazing time. And it's just these reminders of like life is made in those small in between moments of waiting in line or getting on the subway that matter, not necessarily the big tours that we get to take or the scenes that we get to witness, but it really is just like these small moments. And I also think that because we live this lifestyle, we spend so much time as a family together. And that's something that we wouldn't have gotten the chance to do in the US because my husband and I were working opposite schedules from each other. And more than likely, I would have been putting her in some sort of daycare program or having a full time nanny. And I just wouldn't be spending the same time. But now, because I work remotely, I typically work from wherever we're staying at the time or at a co-working spot. But I'm able to take my lunch and spend time with her and go on a walk and go to the beach or wherever we might be. And so that to me has been like the most rewarding experience through this is just we got our time back. And I don't think that we would have been able to achieve that by continuing to be in the rat race. In the
Yes,
US.
I understand that big time. So, speaking of your daughter, I'm wondering a little bit more about this world schooling. I don't really know very much about it, but I do know that when our kids are little, it's really important that what you were telling me with the experiences that she's having and all of the development that happens in this time frame. It must be amazing. Have you seen that she's more interested in talking because you're in different countries and you're speaking different languages? Is there something that comes along with world schooling that has been beneficial to her?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the development. I think also too, because we do Boundless and one of the things that I really have loved about the program is that they do a lot of mixing with the kids as far as the older kids with the younger kids. And it's really beautiful to see how much the older kids really love and look after the little ones. And because she's getting that interaction with the older kids, I think that really helped with her speech, not only just being around us a lot, but she's talking so much. And every time we tell people that she's two, they're like, wow, like she knows all of her colors. Like she is talking. I think the cutest thing was when we were in Greece and she loved the little cats everywhere. And so I told her that the cats are Greek. And so you have to be able to say hi to them in Greek. And so every day she'd go, Yashu, cat.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's just really cool because she's developing way faster than I thought she would as far as just the things that she's saying and that she's noticing that I'm like, wow, I don't think many 2-year-olds would do that right now. But yeah, it's crazy to see how much that she's developed from just being able to do this. And also too, one of the cool things about doing content creation is she loves to watch our videos like that I've done of our travels. And so she will remember certain things as she's watching the videos. And so she will point to certain things or I'm like, oh, you remember when we did that? And she's like, yeah.
So, what kind of tools do you use in your content creation, even in your travel, like for your daughter to make things easier for her and for you and for everybody involved? Because I know she's two. It's not all sunshine and roses all the time. There are meltdowns, there are accidents, anything can happen. It's a wild card.
Yes, totally. So I will say my favorite thing right now is we do the Amazon Fire tablet for her. And I love this
Okay.
because the thing is not only is it indestructible, but if you do damage it in any way, you have the insurance policy on it that they will send you a new one. So that's been great. But also too, it's been really helpful because we do have a lot of time where we have to wait, whether it's we're waiting in the airport, on a flight, whatever it may be. There's a lot of downtime in between. So we need things to keep her entertained, but also we can't take a lot of stuff with us because we're
Yeah.
trying to minimize as much as possible what we're bringing with us. So that's why I really love the tablet. And I know there's a lot of controversy about screen time, but in my own personal experience and also just how I feel that the world is moving, I just think like that she's going to have to be around technology and I might as well just allow her to be
Well,
proficient at it now.
I'd say so. Yeah. I don't have a problem with technology and children. I feel that just the well rounded experience that she's already getting, it's not like she's just sitting in the room all day
Yeah,
long with a tablet in
exactly.
front of her face. She's literally traveling the world. She's like a digital
Yes.
nomad at the age of 2. So she's good. She's good. And
Yeah, and
what do
that's why I
you
felt there's a balance with that because we put books and games on there for her, and so
Yeah.
it's perfect because she's keeping herself entertained, but she's learning mixing and matching and colors and numbers and all of these things. So that has been the best investment
Okay.
for us.
So with her speech, and you said that she's talking so much more than regular 2-year-olds speak. Do you have a second language that she's learning at this point? Or are you thinking about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are going to be actually going back to Greece in the spring. And I think I'm going to really immerse her into learning Greek. And Portugal, really, for me, though, is really where I would love to see us settled. So I think
Mhm.
those are going to be the two languages that I'd really love for her to be able to speak one
Awesome.
day. We really love Greece so much. And it's amazing that we're going to be able to get a chance to go back there. So I feel like this is now that she's talking, it's the perfect time to get her
Yes.
immersed into the language.
Absolutely. This is the best time because at this age, they're just sponges. They will pick anything up. And it was funny because I had my little Duolingo out because I'll be going to Morocco this year. So I'm
Oh,
learning Arabic. And
cool.
my grandson picked up my phone and he started doing the little matching on the Duolingo. And I'm like, I wasn't even helping him.
It's amazing.
But they are. They're just like little sponges. And I absolutely love this that she is going to be able to speak more than one language. By the time she's probably 6 years old, she will have had such an amazing rounded experience and be trilingual, even. So that's amazing.
Yes.
I love
My
that.
goal is for her to be able to translate for me. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. She probably will and probably quickly. So, do you have any advice for families considering this type of lifestyle?
Yes, absolutely. I would say test it out because, of course, I'm guilty of this as an influencer, right? Glamorize this lifestyle. But I also try to be as raw and honest as possible about the challenges that we face because I do want people to have a holistic view about what this looks like. And one of the things that I always tell people is try this out before you sell everything, before you decide to downsize, because it's a huge commitment. And we, although we knew that this was something that we really wanted to do, we put, I would say, and even still now, we keep one foot in, one foot out. Of we have still our items in storage. So if we have to go back, if we have to get a place in the US, we have that ability to do. But we also now have the ability to travel, and we don't have a home base necessarily right now. So we don't have the overhead of rent. So like that money gets to go towards travel now. But I just tell people, like, just try out where it is that you want. Like for us right now, we're in Mexico, and this was a place on paper that checked off all of the boxes. But now that we're here, we're realizing like this isn't actually a really good fit for us and what our lifestyle is. And now we're leaning more towards places like Portugal and places like Greece. Like this, I think, will be a better fit for us and what we're looking for. And I think you just don't know until you go and you experience it. But you have to experience it outside of that 2 week vacation window because vacationing somewhere and living somewhere as a local are like two
Totally different.
different experiences.
Totally different.
You start to realize what the bureaucracy is or just little things that you don't recognize in your everyday life, especially coming from America where everything is so convenient. You don't ever have to leave your home in America. Everything can be brought to you. And when you're living abroad, it's still such a manual process. And
Yeah.
so you really have to figure out like what is important to you and your lifestyle and what you need to be successful and to feel at peace somewhere. So I just really advise people like test it out, go for at least 4 weeks somewhere if you're thinking about living abroad. But I also think too, like being a digital nomad, same thing, like test out being somewhere for 4 weeks because this will test you
Yeah.
and
It sure
how
will.
adaptable you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've learned so much about myself, about living abroad over these past 8 years. I can't even describe the amount of misconceptions that I had when I was first new to all of this. Yeah. I laugh at some of the things that I thought, just the way that life really truly is in other countries. And we really do take a lot for granted in the United States. Just what you said, the convenience of it all. I remember coming back after I had been gone for the first time. I was gone for 2 years and I landed in Miami and I was so excited to go to a food store. And I got in there and I froze. I was like a deer in the headlight. I didn't know where to go. It was so bright. There were so many things. It was sensory overload for me. And I literally had to leave. I had to walk out of the store. I was like, I can't do this.
Yes.
I'm going to go back. I don't want to go back. But,
You
a lot of,
realize how excessive things are in the US when
yeah,
you come back and you're just like, "Oh my god, like how many Targets are in this city because if they all look like this, like we have so much."
exactly. In the States, my family home, within, I'd probably say 5 miles, we have 3 Targets and 2 Walmarts. So Yeah, I miss it sometimes, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm
Mhm.
really enjoying the simpler way of life until I want to go to CVS.
I feel like that's why we've really enjoyed being digital nomads and why we necessarily haven't decided on like where we want to be long term. I don't know if I'll actually ever be able to say I want to be somewhere long term. I think we eventually want a home base, but I think we still want to continue to travel because, yeah, there's times where you get homesick and you're like, oh, I really just want Uber Eats to deliver to my,
Exactly. I don't know if I will ever settle down in one place. I don't know. I just
ah,
haven't found a place that encompasses everything that I want. So I
mhm.
will figure it out somehow, some way. Do you have anything that you wish you may have done differently?
Honestly, I think if there was probably anything that I wish we could have done differently, because this is something that I realize now that allows a lot of families like us to be able to travel, is having some sort of asset. Like we're broke millennials, like we just were not in a place to buy a home. And honestly, we really didn't want to buy a home at any point in time. Like we had looked in 2020 when the interest rates were really low and we just didn't see anything that really fit what we were looking for. But now I wish I would have purchased something to have as an investment property and something
Oh,
for us to come back to with like having a home base. So, but really having some sort of asset that you're able to rent out if you want to live this lifestyle, whether it be you want to actually live abroad full time or if you want to be a digital nomad, because having that type of asset could assist you in being able to move abroad or to travel abroad because that's another stream of income for yourself.
yeah.
So that is definitely something that I wish we would have looked into, but obviously we didn't know we were going to be living this lifestyle. But had I known this was going to be the lifestyle, I think I would have purchased some sort of 2-bedroom condo. I mean, we were living in Austin at the time, so really hip and fun city that people are
Yes.
constantly traveling to. So I think that is something that we're actually looking forward to doing in the next year is like actually finding an investment property in the States so that there's something that we can come back to, but we can also rent it out as well. And also, I think that is just like a huge financial piece. And so many people I talk to that live this lifestyle have something that they're renting out in the United States as whether it
Yeah.
be their home base or just an actual investment property, period.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
Amazing.
Definitely having some place to go to makes a huge difference. And it has helped me out immensely over the years because sometimes you just want to come back, get your thoughts together,
Mhm.
figure things out, and then bounce out again. Yeah, I get that. I get that completely. So,
Yeah.
what are your plans for 2024?
I think 2024, it's our goal has still really been where we see ourselves having a home base outside of the US. That is still continuing. So I think now we can check off Mexico. Okay, we did it. It doesn't check off the list, but now we're really interested in exploring more of Europe. So we found an incredible home to rent in Greece for the next 3 months. So that's going to be our home base or our launch pad, so to speak. And we're going to be traveling all around Europe to France, to Spain, to Switzerland, Montenegro. So that'll be
Mhm.
really cool to be able to do that. I think for me, my heart has always been destinations in Europe have always been places that I wanted to go. If I look back on my Pinterest board, Europe is it's everywhere. And Asia is another place too that we really want to travel to. Japan has been on my bucket list forever. So my husband's a Switzerland, mine is a Japan. So I'm very excited for us to be able to do that this year. And then our other goal, hopefully, that we'll be able to achieve is because we want to have some sort of home base in the States, we're actually looking into purchasing an RV so that we can keep that in the States and still be able
Nice.
to travel when we're back home seeing family and friends because we are one of the both sides of the family, we have the one grandchild. So the
Okay.
grandparent guilt is real.
Yes. Yes,
Look,
I know.
we also need to be in the States at some point in time during the year, but we really do want a place that we can call our own. And we've also met a lot of people in the world schooling community who, if they don't have a home that they rent out, they are RVing. So while they're abroad, they put their RV in storage or rent it out on Outdoorsy or something like that.
I would even consider doing something like that. I spent 2 years before I left the United States traveling around the US. So I did everywhere possible just so that I could see how beautiful the United States really is. And if you get the opportunity to be able to drive through it, believe me, you will not regret it. It would be amazing. And it would be
Yeah.
just another bunch of learning lessons for your daughter. So, any
Yes.
information that you would like to share about your platform where you can be found?
Yeah, absolutely. So people can find me on Instagram and TikTok is where I'm the most active. And it's just my name, Cara Celeste West. We're also on YouTube. Our goal is to really put a lot of YouTube content out there, long form travel content. Same as well too is Cara Celeste West. But yeah, and then if people have any questions about either moving abroad or finding remote work, my team and I, we really focus on being able to find remote jobs that are either entry level or mid level. So people can go head over to my website at caracelestewest.com and they can subscribe there and get our weekly newsletter, which sends out remote job listings to help people land that dream remote job. Because I find that there's a lot of MLM scams out there in the world schooling and travel digital nomad community. And I just really want to help people find like really good remote jobs at startups that if they can't work globally, at least this allows them to travel throughout the United States or maybe travel internationally with their job for 2 to 4 weeks at a time. So I hope that it's a helpful resource and it's totally free for people.
That is amazing. And I really love that with the experience that you're having with your family, that you're reaching out and you're telling people, you know what, you can do this too. I'm providing resources, I'm providing details about my lived experience because I have found that because this is such a boom these days, that there are a lot of people that are coming into this space that don't have the experience of actually living abroad. And to
Yeah.
be able to help someone to transition into this type of lifestyle, you really do need that lived experience in this field because you'll never know what it's like until you actually step foot on foreign soil. It's one thing, just like what you said, it's one thing to go on vacation, but it's a completely different animal to live in another country. So I'm really excited for you. I'm excited for your family. I'm excited to see where you go from here because you are such an inspiration. As a mother myself, I wish I could have done just even a fraction of what you are beginning to accomplish.
Oh, thank you so much, Tony. That means so much to me.
And I want to thank you so much for being with me today. And I hope that your trip to Greece is a success. And I will be following you on all your social media channels.
Thank you so much, Tony.
Thanks for joining me on Beyond Borders. I want to extend my thanks to Cara Celeste West for sharing her story with me. And I hope you've enjoyed this glimpse into the life of a digital nomad mom. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for future updates as I explore the stories that go beyond borders and inspire us to appreciate the beauty of our world. Until then, keep dreaming, keep exploring, and embrace the journey of life.